Congratulations, General Austin, on your nomination, and thank you for your appearance today, and especially for your 4 decades of military service. Unfortunately, I must announce that I oppose the waiver of the 7-year cooling-off period. My decision reflects not at all on you personally or your record, which I respect. Rather, I believe Congress should no longer grant such waivers at all. I supported the waiver for General Mattis with reservations 4 years ago, which I quickly came to view as a mistake, and I have since regretted. For that matter, upon further reading of the historical record, I now believe the waiver for General Marshall in 1950 was also a mistake. Under no foreseeable circumstances can I imagine supporting such a waiver again. Again, General Austin, my reasons for this decision are distinct and separate from your nomination. And put simply, my reasons are the same reasons we have a cooling-off period for recently retired generals in the first place. Some of those reasons are simply a fact, not something that you can address or about which you can grant reassurance. Others, you can give reassurance. I'll give you that opportunity in a moment. Among those concerns I have that I don't think can be addressed are the following. First, the perception that these waivers are now routine, not extraordinary. Senator Reid said in 2017 that he wouldn't support another waiver and they should only happen, quote, once in a generation. No matter what we say, though, if we approve 2 waivers in just 4 years, our actions will speak louder than our words. Second, the perception among flag officers that a 4-star billet isn't a career capstone. Some generals and admirals may begin to think if they play their cards right, they too can become a secretary in just a few years. I don't think that's good for the force or for the country. 3, the perception among the American people that the military expertise of our general officers is the same as national security expertise more broadly, and that the latter resides chiefly in the military, which I also believe is unhealthy for our democracy. And 4, the perception of potential Army favoritism. As a 41-year officer in the Army, many observers may disbelieve that you can hang up the Army green, rightly or wrongly. If you make the right decision for the Army over the other services, and those services advocates may say it's because of favoritism. Make the correct decision for another service against the Army, and the Army's advocates will say you're protecting your flank against such charges of favoritism. Neither one of those may be true in the case, but I believe it's unavoidable. Those concerns alone are weighty and enough for me to oppose this waiver, as I should have done 4 years ago. But there are still more reasons behind the cooling-off period. As I said, though, you can give reassurances about some of these concerns, and I want to give you the opportunity to do that. First, Secretary of Defense is not a partisan job, but it is very much a political job. Bob Gates is a good example. He served in a Republican and Democratic administration with great political skill. We, of course, expect our generals like you and General Mattis to be apolitical, but our troops deserve a secretary with the political skills and willingness to fight for them, whether within the Pentagon against its bureaucracy, within the cabinet in fights over policy and budgetary resources, or against parochial members of Congress. So, General Austin, what can you say to address this concern? If, for instance, John Kerry wants to sacrifice our force posture on China's periphery in return for ephemeral promises from China to reduce emissions in 2070, or if Jennifer Granholm wants to rob the nuclear security budget to fund pie-in-the-sky green energy programs, or simply if the Office of Management and Budget wants to cut the military's budget, how would you manage such inherently political disputes?
Well, certainly in terms of providing resources for the military, my job is to defend this country if I'm confirmed as Secretary of Defense. And so I believe that we need to have the adequate resources to be able to do that. In order to help me work the issues and make my points throughout the interagency, number one, I'll develop great relationships with my partners in state and OMB and other places. Number two, I'll hire the right people to be on my staff to make sure that they are working with me and crafting the right language to be able to be successful in this dialogue.
Thank you, General. If confirmed, I do urge you to be a forceful political advocate for the department and its interests, both inside the cabinet and with the Congress as well. A second concern I'd like you to address is that the Secretary also holds a public office. Bob Gates routinely held on-camera press briefings about major decisions, new policies, public controversies, and so forth. Those have been almost non-existent for the last 4 years. General Austin, if confirmed, will you commit to hold regular on-camera press briefings?
Yes.
Will you also commit to appear on television programs to explain the key issues of the day, as Senator Gillibrand raised?
Yes.
Thank you. A third and final concern I want you to address is that a recently retired general is apt to bring with him much of his former military staff, perhaps recreating his last command as a kind of supreme combatant command, also likely to rely too much on the Joint Staff. General Austin, could you please discuss, if confirmed, how many of your former military staff from your various senior commands you plan to hire, and how you will balance the Joint Staff with civilian appointees, the services, and the combatant commands?
The key billets for my staff, all of those positions are being, we're looking at filling all of those positions, if I'm confirmed, with experienced senior civilians that again, I'll empower to be able to get their job done.
Thank you. Again, General Austin, my concerns about these waivers don't bear at all on your nomination or your record of service to our nation, for which I have the highest regard. I thank you again for answering the call of duty to your country.
Thank you, Senator